All right, let's do the last video, but this time, I think we're gonna have to make an edit here, and I think I highlighted in yellow here. The new data that you guys download this summer will not have the preferred state. We're gonna have to change that. So instead of going with the preferred status, let's go ahead and find or estimate the proportion of all students in the database who takes cars to school. So I want you to change that part. I will just copy this and paste it over here, so that we're not talking about the preferred status, but talking about like what percent of people take car to school. Okay. All right. So if you could change that for me real quick, that will be great. 1 second. So no more happy. Oh no, they don't have that anymore for some reason. So here we go. Let's figure out the confidence interval for proportion of all students who takes cars to school. Upload sample 3 onto StatCrunch for this last part. Okay. So I'll close some of these browsers. Here's a blank one. I'll do data load from file on my computer. And this one we use a sample 3 size 120 upload. First thing that we're going to have to check is if the number of success and the number of failure are at least 15. Okay. We can't do a confidence interval for proportion if the number of people who take cars to school is less than 15, or if the number of people who don't take cars to school is less than 15. I don't think this will be an issue because I asked you to download a big sample of size 120, but how would you check that? This is one of the conditions that you will want to check anytime you're doing a proportion interval. Verify that the conditions for z interval for a proportion are met. That is to show that that and are both at least 15. Now, what does that mean? There's something wrong with this sentence, so let's fix this up. That is to show that the number of students who takes cars to school and the number of students who are not taking cars to school are both at least 15. So that's what we're going to have to verify first. If these numbers are less than, if either of these numbers are less than 15, then you can tell me though, oh, I can't do this. Okay. Verify that the condition for z interval for proportions are met. That is to show, oh, I know why it didn't copy. It didn't copy because it was math type equation, but this is giving you like how to find that sample proportion, right? N times p hat means in this situation, like the number of people who take cars to school. N times 1 minus p hat will be the proportion of students who do not take cars to school. And we're gonna try to find that by different ways to do this. I think I'm just gonna do this by creating a chart. Okay, organize this chart. If I just give you this data and ask you, hey, how many people take cars to school? How would you find the answer? One way we can organize data is by creating charts, right? So look at me, I'm going to try to create a pie chart of data. And I wonder how many people travel to school, not travel time to school, but travel to school by car. So I click on pie chart, travel to school, and I just want to find the count. And I'm going to hit compute. So here's what I got. I want you to give that to me as a proof. Okay, copy that over here and talk about what you notice. Okay, all right, let's take a look. In my sample of 120, I'll say this. I can see that the number of students who takes cars to school is 43. And the number of students who do not take cars to school is, now what's that going to be? I will have to add up all these other numbers to be sure, because like sometimes like I can just go ahead and do this. Listen, I could just do 120 minus 43, right? Because knowing that the sample size is 43. But then the thing is, like, some students may have skipped the answers to this question. So I'm just going to verify real quick. I think it should be 77. But let me go ahead and add up the other transportation method numbers to see if it add up to 77 in case a student or two skipped the survey question. So watch me. I'm going to do 34 plus 2 plus 6 plus 35. When I added them all, I did get 77. So if there is a difference between your subtraction number, I would check the sample size for this. I think it's going to pop up in our output table later. But, you know, what you have to do is give me both numbers, okay? Both the number of students who takes cars to school, both the number of students who do not take cars to school, and both have to be at least 15 for us to continue, okay? Both numbers are greater than 15, so I can proceed with the interval for proportion. Okay, so that is what you have to check first. Okay, if they don't have, if they're not both 15, we can't do this procedure. Okay, everyone's number will come out to be at least 15 because I asked you to download a large sample of 120. But if it doesn't, you know, reach out to me, let me know. A very common mistake that I've been noticing is that students try to make a pie chart or bar chart accidentally using travel time to school. That's not what you're doing. You are talking about transportation method, not travel time to school. So if your pie chart or bar chart looks like this, make sure that you're clicking on travel to school for the transportation. Okay. All right. Next, they want us to construct a 90% confidence interval for the proportion of all students who answer their preferred status is happy. Let's rename this. Okay. And I think you don't have to be creative and type up the sentence yourself. I reworded this. So you can go ahead and copy this. I'm sorry, like I realized that the data set that you guys ended up downloading does not have the preferred status. So I had to make this last minute edit real quick to make sure that we can answer all these questions. So let's try this. 90% confidence interval for people who take cars to school. Watch what I do. Go to stat, this time go down to proportion stats. Click on one sample, do with data. Again, that is stat, proportion stats, one sample with data. Click on travel to school. And for success, type in CAR. Make sure that C is capitalized, okay? If it's lowercase, guess what it's going to do? It's not going to do the work for you. It's going to tell you that nobody takes cars to school. So make sure that C is capitalized. And when you click on the confidence interval for P, tell them that we want a 90% confidence interval and compute, you'll be able to get that confidence interval. Okay, so provide that output table for me. Yours should look something very similar to this. But, you know, if your count says 0 and it doesn't match what the pie chart or the bar chart provided on number 14, I will know that something went wrong. So make sure that you put CAR, okay, capital C for the success category. Change that level to 90%, and that is how you can find the confidence interval. All right, let's write a standard sentence interpreting for the confidence interval here, okay? And this will be the last thing. All right, I am how confident? What was the confidence level? 90%. I am 90% confident that the true proportion of students who takes cars to school in the, add this for me, true population proportion of all students in the database who takes cars to school is in between 0.29 and 0.43. Okay, so what am I saying here? Well, it's not the majority, and that's surprising to me. I would think that majority of students take cars to school, but as long as you report that confidence level. So this is what I'm looking for. Give me the 90%. Give me your lower and upper bound. Now for proportion, we do not have units. I guess you can, do it like this, 29% and 43%. Okay? But do not put centimeters. We're not talking about centimeters for the proportion here. Make sure to keep the unit for proportion nothing. Don't add any unit for proportions, but you can convert it into percent and say like 29 to 43%. Okay. And the third thing that I'm looking for is that you are estimating the true population proportion of all students in your population. In this case, that will just be all students in the database instead of saying all students all over the world, because I feel like, some countries were not represented in this survey. Okay. Um, so that is it for this. It was a quick little activity that I want to, not little, this one I think was a little bit lengthy. But after this, submit 3 data files that you downloaded for this activity. Okay, save your work and do this. Okay, you will start assignment, upload file. The first one I would appreciate it if it is that assignment. So, oh goodness, where did I save it, right? Let me try to find it. So that assignment, if you could put that as your first one, that will be great so that I can grade it. But then the other 3 files, click on add another file and give me your sample files for me. So what were all the samples that you used? Sample of size 25 was the first one. Sample of 50 was the second one. And sample of 125 was the third one. 120 was the third one. So give me 4 files in this assignment. I may randomly pick one and actually run the numbers and compare it. I will ask you to do that for the final project, I believe. I will look at the final project, but this is going to be very similar to your final project this year, okay? So after that, agree to the tools and users license and then click on submit assignment. I will review your work and I will give you feedback. I will grade using the grading rubric. And if you are missing any part, I'll mark it as 0 points so that you can go back and fix it. If you want to use up all 3 attempts, that's great. But normally, like after the second or third attempt, you will get full credit. But I look forward to your submissions on this assignment. We went over most of it together, but there are some additional things that I wanted you to go back and enter yourself. So I hope this was helpful. I will see you tomorrow.